Watch this.
Some store shelves may sit empty, but for dozens of products, supply has outweighed demand across the country. That also hits home for dairy farmers in Idaho. We've seen a historic surge in unemployment claims in the state. Congress hoping to curtail it. But when will benefits kick in, and how long can we sustain it? And we're saying goodbye to one of the fuzziest celebrities in Boise. Sadly, we didn't have long enough to say it. Hoarding, stockpiling, just getting a few extra, whatever you want to call it, it's added up to a lot of empty shelves in grocery stores lately. The demand surpassing supply in such cases. Believe it or not, there's the other side of that, where supply is dominating demand, and by a lot. The pandemic has turned a lot of industries on their heads and made some products essentially worthless. And that brings us to a viewer question to open up the 208. Lonnie asked, is it true that dairy farmers are disposing of their milk due to the national crisis, or national virus, excuse me? It is a crisis, I guess. Good question. We have seen some dairy operations forced to dump their products in other states, like the Midwest. But has that pushed into other areas of the country? Is dairy a dire industry for Idaho farmers right now? Just one of the questions Joe Paris set out to answer.
What's the state of the dairy industry in Idaho right now?
The dairymen are really struggling at this point. We've seen a significant drop in milk price over the last few weeks. We are now in the same territory that we saw during the 2009 recession. Right now, when we look at the value of cheese, butter, dry milk, and fluid milk on the cash traded basis, they are near all-time lows right now. We looked at 2020 2 months ago as being a recovery year for dairymen. We're coming off 4 years of not dire financial situations like we're in now, but it's been a 4-year struggle to now looking at record low milk prices and record losses at the farm gate is really disheartening.
Rick Nairbout, CEO of the Idaho Dairymen Association, says a major issue for local dairy farms is who they sell to. A lot of dairies sell to restaurants, which is an issue because with restaurant business way down, they're ordering less and less dairy products.
And that's resulting in a very significant oversupply to the market right now.
I saw a video of a dairy farmer having to pour out his product in Wisconsin. Is that happening here?
We are starting to see that in Idaho. Over the weekend, we started to see dairies having to dump milk at the farm level just because there wasn't demand for it. There was no place to sell it.
So, with business down, milk literally down the drain, and products at record low prices, dairy operations are doing the same thing as other industries, getting SBA loans to keep them afloat for now and taking advantage of the recent CARES Act. National dairy groups are also looking for high-level help from the federal government.
They are in talks with USDA right now and have put a proposal forward to try and have USDA support the industry through a variety of ways.
A little good news, dairy prices are slightly up today because of the possible help from the USDA. At a local level, though, Nairbout says Idahoans can help some too.
Really the best way Idahoans can help out is just figure out ways to include dairy in what you're cooking at home. You know, find those recipes that use cheese and butter and cream and start to cook with some more of those recipes so that we help to offset that loss in demand.
I know they get up early on those dairy farms, Joe, but were you able to talk to any of the dairy farmers today?
Yeah, I was. A few local ones. One, for example, in Rupert, and they were out working all day. The truth is, though, is that it's tough right now. And not all dairy farmers are at the point where they're having to dump their products, but they're all basically in the same boat where dairy product prices are so low right now, Brian, that there's really not a lot they can do. There's just so much in the market. They're really hoping that they can work with the USDA and get those small business association loans because like a lot of industries right now, dairy is hurting and a lot of people are working to get those answers and those solutions.
Yeah, just one other domino that we've seen fall in recent days. Thank you very much, Joe. Well, today, we've seen huge jumps in Idaho's unemployment the last couple of weeks would be more understated than the size of Joe's television set. For January and February, we held under 3% unemployment in the Gem State, with claims as high as 3,000 a week in early January to as low as less than 1,000 the first week of March. Less than 1,000 claims the first week of March. Then, the week before Governor Little ordered us all to stay home for 21 days, unemployment claims exploded 1,200% to more than 13,000 claims in 1 week. The following week, another 33,000 Idahoans filed for unemployment. We're told those numbers aren't new to Idaho, though. In August of 2010, during the Great Recession, we saw an unemployment rate of nearly 9%. But that took years to add up. This time, it took about 2 weeks, and we won't know the latest numbers till later this week. But like last time, Congress has put together a package to combat the COVID-19 economic shutdown, and several of you are wondering what that will look like, including two of the people we spoke with today.
I'm going Looney Tunes being at home.
We spoke with Doug Guyman, a 56-year-old from Twin Falls. Hi, Carissa.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
And Carissa Novacek. I can. A 34-year-old from Nampa.
I mean, I figured I'd go back, end of April, beginning of May. And
This wasn't either of their first time on unemployment, so they knew the process.
The site is very user-friendly. The step-by-step instructions are pretty much user-friendly. It hasn't been too terribly difficult.
the whole time was a lot longer, but other than that, everything's been going pretty smoothly.
Which is pretty impressive given the jump in initial claims the last couple of weeks. More than 46,000 Idahoans were now out of work and filing for unemployment benefits by the end of March.
During the Great Recession, we had the same number. The difference was it just took longer to get to that number, so we had more time to prepare.
Leah Reeder is an unemployment insurance technical services specialist who says that preparation would also apply to how they plan to implement the CARES Act, the stimulus and extended benefits package Congress passed last month.
Well, there's three parts of the CARES Act that will expand the unemployment insurance program.
One, it would allow those who normally wouldn't be eligible for unemployment to get benefits, like the self-employed or nonprofit employees. Two, it would add an extra $600 on top of a weekly claim check. And three,
It extends unemployment insurance. So people who have exhausted benefits and now are unable to find work may be eligible for extended benefits.
filing a claim has so far been relatively easy. It's the wait time on the phone for questions or changes that has been the most frustrating for many.
But that was, 60, 75 minutes out of my life where I was sitting in my easy chair on hold. And I finally got through to it. And once it was done, it was a keystroke for them. It was taken care of and the frustration level was gone.
Leah says that's being addressed quickly.
We are hiring new folks, but we are going to have to quickly train them. Unfortunately, we won't have as much time to train them as we're normally allowed.
The other issue? Your biggest question is, when am I going to start to see that extra $600?
Yeah.
Is there a timeline that you think it could start in the next couple of weeks?
Unfortunately, we really don't have an answer to how long it's going to take before we get all the information that we need.
And what about benefits extending beyond the normal 3 months? Can our system handle something like that?
Yes, we learned a lot during the recession, and we knew that we would eventually have to implement a program probably similar to the last one that we had during the last recession. So the system is set up for that. And basically, it's going to be up to the federal government how long they want to extend benefits and what the provisions will be. But we are set up to add additional funds to the unemployment insurance system.
The unemployment insurance system began in the U.S. in the mid-1930s and was created as a safety net, but only provided a small portion of people's salary. It's supposed to incentivize people to find a new job. Probably the biggest difference with benefits these days, we don't necessarily want people to get back to work right away, which is one of the reasons that extra $600 was added every week. Both Doug and Carissa fall into that employer attached category, by the way, which means they don't have to look for another job to still get unemployment benefits. It also means, like a lot of you maybe, they hope to be back to work at the same place when this is all over. We just don't know when that will be yet. A lot of us may be looking for some extra help to feed our families these days, but long lines haven't really been an issue for one local nonprofit where wait times have been essentially non-existent. Powder blues, baby faces, and big hair. We're taking a look at some of your throwback prom pictures. You have a prom picture you'd like to share? Maybe you just have a question about today's show. make sure to send us a text. It's 208-321-5614. Be sure to include your name. Be sure to include your name and the hashtag the208. We're going to share some of your comments and maybe even some of your awkward photos at the end of the show. This is what it looked like last week at one of the food pantries in Boise. Cars waiting in line at St. Vincent de Paul's on Overland Drive. Tough picture to see, knowing the demand is so high right now. And while the demand is still there, there's another food pantry that wants you to know you don't have to wait in line. The Salvation Army in Boise says they're still serving and they have lots of food to share. Unlike other food pantries, the Salvation Army isn't necessarily seeing an uptick in numbers. They're still serving about 200 families a week, but again, they want you to know they have plenty to share.
We've been able to continue to serve the community with food boxes these last several weeks. And we have been able to get some extra food in the pantry, and we are continuing to serve, and we're just looking for more people to serve. We've seen different articles stating that there are lines at other food pantries, but we do not have a line. And so we were just hoping to get the word out that you don't have to wait in line. You can come to the Salvation Army and we'll serve you.
They will serve you. The Salvation Army's drive-through food pantry is open Tuesdays through Thursdays from 12 to 4. So yeah, it's not every day, but if you get there between 12 and 4, Tuesdays through Thursdays, you don't have to stand in line. Located 9492 West Emerald Street in Boise. Also, if you are homebound and cannot physically get to the pantry, you may qualify for a food box to be delivered to your home. Just call the Salvation Army for more information, and you can find that number right there on your screen.
Sunshine and warming temperatures in our forecast. That is the theme of the forecast for the rest of the work week, and it's already started for us. Beautiful mid to even some upper 60s on the board in the Treasure Valley. It gets even better through the next couple of days. So let's take a look at that forecast with lots of sunshine that's sticking around with us. Mostly sunny skies right now, but I think even more brilliant sunshine and cobalt blue skies as we get into tomorrow. We've got a few fair weather clouds up in the mountain locations, but for the valley, mainly clear. Maybe something that you've noticed through the last few days after that wet weather that we saw last week, the week before, really helps for those blossoms to bloom and pop, and then you get pollen in the air, and our pollen counts are rather high through the next few days. Cottonwood, maple, and juniper if you've been feeling sneezy. It is the season, and using a lot of tissues right now, I'm sure. Right now, we take a look outside, Skycam 7, beautiful with mostly clear skies. And through the next 12 hours, we keep the mainly clear skies around, even more cloud cover clearing out, which gives us an opportunity to view that full supermoon tonight. The pink moon, not because it will appear pink, but because it is known as the pink moon, our first full moon of spring, the colors of the blooms that would generally be coming up this time of year. Magic Valley forecast, lots of sunshine, mid to upper 60s tomorrow. Central Mountains, 60 degrees for Sun Valley, 59 for Haley. Lots of sunshine for our mountain locations as well as we dry things out. Mid to upper 50s for Long Valley. Lower Treasure Valley could be some low 70s on the board for tomorrow. And the Upper Treasure Valley looking at those upper 60s with brilliant sunshine as well. You know our ambient temperature is actually taken in the shade. So you step in the direct sunlight and it can easily feel 5 to 10 degrees warmer than that temperature reads. So when we're looking at those mid to upper 60s, you're certainly planning on going outside with a short sleeve shirt. Here's that big high pressure ridge that's building in for us for the rest of the work week, but then into the weekend, that ridge slides a little farther to the west, allowing for some colder air to drop down along the jet stream into southern Idaho, and it will cool our temperatures off. I'm cautiously optimistic that we can still see some temperatures topping out in the mid-50s for Easter. It could be colder than that. Forecast models are suggesting that. There's still some time to work out the details. But for now, this is how the 7-day forecast looks. And for a closer look at the forecast, you can always find it at ktvb.com.
Boise's North End neighborhood is reminding us all that we're in this fight together. He was an ambassador for Zoo Boise for almost 2 decades. After passing on to greener pastures, we're remembering Dean the llama. You have a memory about Dean you'd like to share? Or maybe just a comment about something else you saw during today's show? You can text those to us right now at the number on your screen. It's 208-321-5614. Include your name and the hashtag #the208. We'll read and respond to some of them at the end of the show. You notice more American flags flying on homes and businesses these days? The stars and stripes streaming from sticks and flagpoles has become a bit of a movement around some neighborhoods like this one here. Why? Well, we're told it's in support of our healthcare heroes and other essential workers on the front lines of this coronavirus pandemic. For example, if you've driven down Harrison Boulevard, we just showed you right there in Boise's North End, you'll see Old Glory along with yellow ribbons on the trees. We wanted to share some of this with you as residents wanted to share the sentiment and the reminder that America is truly home of the brave, yep, and the proud, and we can get through this apart, but banding together under one banner. Remember the masquerade prom we told you about yesterday? The Boise family who decided to put on a formal dance for their daughter and sister in their living room? Yeah, this one right here. This was their answer to proms getting expunged across the valley during this pandemic. See, they're all wearing a mask, which is why they called it a masquerade. Get it? All right, never mind. Well, with so many other high schoolers likely not getting to experience their senior or even junior prom, we wanted to try and put a smile on some faces by having you send in your prom pictures from years past. And you sent in some good ones. Like this one from Julie Elliott in 1984, Bora High School prom. Hey now. Check out the powder blue ruffles on that dress. Long sleeve, by the way. Got to appreciate that. Speaking of powder blues, take a look at this guy's classic tux from 1978. Yes, sir. We love that. Or how about this one from Russ and Chris Inskeep from 1985? I'm not sure who has bigger hair in this picture, but talk about your satin poof on that one. That is amazing. Yes, it's like you're outside. It really is. Mariana Peterson sent us this prom picture from 1976. We're all hands in this one. You might get to take it easy. She says she still has that dress too, which is amazing. Look at that. And that tux, classic. Yes, you can check out all these pictures that were sent in right now. We have them all gathered for you at ktvb.com. But if you think you have a picture that can top any one of those, we want to see them. Text them to us, that number 208-321-5614, or you can post them in our Facebook group, which is the 208 group. Send them via email to the208@ktvb.com. You can also find us on Instagram and at Twitter, the208@ktvb. And we will be right back. Back in February, we introduced you to one of Zoo Boise's most popular animals, Dean Martin. But you probably know him as Dean the llama. Maybe you met him before that, because Dean's been at Zoo Boise since 2003, and he was the last surviving member of the zoo's 4-llama rat pack, which included the likes of Sammy Davis Jr., Frank Sinatra, Peter Lawford. For nearly 17 years, Dean greeted guests at the zoo's farm exhibit, asking for back scratches and bites of food, just not casserole. He posed for hundreds, maybe thousands of pictures and appeared in multiple multimedia campaigns. Most recently for the zoo's brand new Gorongosa exhibit. Over the years, Dean helped raise more than $260,000 for conservation efforts, not only in Idaho, but around the world. We're telling you about Dean again because, well, we knew this was coming. In recent days, Dean's health has faded, so far that Zoo Boise decided to let Dean go, and they made the decision to euthanize him. Dean was 22 years old, which is about 80 in human years. Gene Peacock, the director of Zoo Boise, says they'd hoped to be able to invite the public to say goodbye to Dean during his final days, but because of the coronavirus, they couldn't. So today, we're saying goodbye to Dean by looking back at the last time we saw him.
He's actually Dean Martin, but I think we just call him Dean.
He is 22 years old. In llama years, that puts him probably, in human years, it would be equal to probably in his 80s, I would say. Well, Dean is always handsome. And just over the years, he's grown more and more popular. I'm pretty sure there have been thousands and thousands of photos taken with Dean the llama over the years. He's such an engaging animal. He's very personable. He's very friendly. He's very tactile. He loves a good petting. And because we have our farmyard where you can buy grain and feed the animals, and all of that goes to our conservation projects, Dean has been a big part of that message for conservation and what we do. So in a way, he's been one of the animals that's the face of our conservation projects.
He's a really good boy, and I think he's a great ambassador for our zoo.
I'm going to wrap up the 208 with some updated numbers to the COVID-19 virus out there. Total cases in Idaho right now crossing the 1,200 threshold at 1,210. We've now had 15 deaths in the state, the 2 latest coming from Blaine County. So as we wrap up the 208 with some of your comments, let's get to some of those now. Been trying to get through to unemployment help for 3 weeks now. Phone number goes to busy signal. Yes, that's been a big complaint for a lot of people. Tried emails, live chat, all to no success and no return emails. Keep trying. They're working on it. They're hiring more people. So if you're looking for a job, you may want to work there, but they are going to fill in those spots and get more people to answer the phones and help out people who are still looking for unemployment benefits. If Idaho dairies are dumping milk, why are we as consumers limited in stores how much milk products we can purchase? Well, they're not sending them to stores. As you heard in Joe's story, they're not equipped to make them commercially, to send them to stores, basically. It's not as easy as just flipping a switch. So yeah, they got to get rid of some of that stuff because they don't have the ability to just put it in a gallon and ship it off to the local grocery store. That could happen somewhere down the road. Thanks, George and Kuna, for that one. Idaho, please stay home. We live just across the border in Oregon on the main road to Lake Oahe. Road is like a freeway of Idaho vehicles pulling boats, RVs, ATVs headed to recreate. Even though the state parks are closed at the lake, don't bring it here. Please stay home. The V family, that's a good message for everybody. It's a stay-at-home order. Let's try to observe it. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. As I tell my kids, worry about yourself. And everybody just observe the stay-at-home order. Last one here. Let's get to a couple more here. Isn't it kind of mean to be showing old prom pics when the kids today can't have an embarrassing prom pic even taken? Glass half full on that one. They don't have that embarrassing pic. But no, I don't think it's mean. And the prom, does it really seem important? Bill J asks at 73. Wouldn't even make my top 10 life events lists. Good thing to remember.